What's up, guys?
On this week's show. All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
Cue the music.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, and you in midair. Send in the clowns. That's it. That's all I got. And what's funny is I had to look up the lyrics to this because I am aware of the song, but don't know the lyrics to the song. But apparently, I'm the only one who doesn't know the lyrics to this song because we're going to talk about this.
I don't think I've ever heard this song before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it in passing, but, you know. Anyway, I, of course, am your host, Mike C. Squared, and the lovely A-Train has joined me once again to do a movie review.
Hey.
And, wow, that was very unenthusiastic.
Yeah, I'm here.
He's like, well, I guess.
I'm here.
But we are going to do a spoiler-filled review of Joker. I want to keep calling it The Joker, but it's just Joker.
Mm-hmm.
If you've listened to the podcast for a while, or at least for the last few months, you know that myself and my usual co-host, DJ Melly Mel, have been adamantly against this movie. Like, on principle and for a multitude of other reasons. But I wanted to make sure that when we did this review that I gave it a fair shot. When I watched the movie, I wanted to make sure that I didn't go in with my preconceived notions and biases and whatnot. And I tried to do my best to be open to whatever interpretation of this character that they wanted to make. That being said, I am a big comic book nerd. And
what?
Right? Would you do a podcast about superheroes and shit, and you like comics? That's weird.
What?
But so I'm gonna come at this twofold. We're gonna talk about it as a film on its own right, with its own merits. It's completely separate from anything that we know from the source material or any other adaptation of these characters. And we're also going to come at it from a more geeky comic book source material perspective as well, because I think it's only fair to do it both ways. Like I said, if you didn't catch that, this is a spoiler-filled review. We are spoiling the shit out of this movie. Do not leave me comments bitching about nothing. Spoilers. So, we decided to do this because we, well, for one, I'm going to be gone for a work trip, so we won't be able to record at our usual time, but we wanted to at least put something out there so you guys had something to listen to. Plus, I know that people have been asking and waiting for what my thoughts would be on this, so here you go. Again, spoilers. Insert siren sound here. So, where do you want to start?
The beginning.
Seems appropriate. Okay. Well, one of the things I want to say about it off the top is, so we're going to start from the just movie on its own perspective. I think that this movie is extremely well shot. Like, the cinematography in this is really good. Like, the camera movements and stuff, like the scenes where Arthur is like dancing to himself in the bathroom and stuff, like the way the camera moves around him and follows him and stuff. It's very like
flows well.
Yeah, it's almost like a melodic movement. It's like kind of going and sways, and just like the way that the sets are set up, like it looked like a real grimy place. Like Gotham felt like a real city. It felt like 80s New York.
Yeah.
I feel that the soundtrack was good. I liked the kind of dread that the music kind of built and the tension throughout. As far as performances go, I feel that across the board, I mean, all the characters did a good job. I don't think that, or all the actors did a good job playing their characters. I don't think that there was any weak part. I think that maybe the midget clown might have been a little weak, but I mean, for what they did with him, the little bit that he's in the movie,
Yeah,
I
I was gonna say he
appreciate
wasn't
it.
in very much.
Right. The one thing I will say as far as like actors and stuff like that goes is I feel like they kind of wasted Zazie Beetz' character. She's the girl, that
The girlfriend.
he's dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of felt like they kind of wasted her a little bit because she's not in the movie very
No.
much. And then by the end, as you know, spoilers, she's not really in any of those scenes that you thought she was in anyway because it wasn't real. So
Wait,
there's that. Oh, we're going to talk about this. Oh, okay. So you must have missed something then. Okay.
that must have.
Okay. So, we're going to get into it.
Well, that's part of my notes.
Well, okay. Hang on. The elephant in the room. What did you feel about Joaquin's portrayal of the character?
I thought he did a good job, like, making him seem crazy.
Oh, yeah. I believed legit that he was out of his goddamn mind. Yes, he was legit crazy. I totally bought that.
Yeah, I thought that he was crazy and everyone was, like, against him, like, out to get him or whatnot.
Sure.
And basically, yeah, like, he belonged in a mental institution. But then there were some points where I'm like, oh, he seems fine.
Yeah, it kind of goes, well, I think that's kind of when he's in his
Manic.
delusions. No, because there's points throughout where he has delusions, and he seems like a normal person during that time. But then, yeah, when he kind of snaps out of it, he's back to just his weird self.
Exactly.
Again. Yeah. What did you feel about the condition that they gave him with the uncontrollable laughter? Because he had a
was very
card
uncomfortable
that he would give people to try to explain, why he's laughing, and it's not because he thinks it's funny. It's like a involuntary thing. It's not something he's doing on purpose. Like, I thought that was interesting. Like, they've never, I mean, it's always been the Joker he just laughs maniacally just because he just thinks shit's funny and he's crazy.
But if they're trying to make it be believable and in a realistic human world without villains and stuff in the world.
Sure.
That's gonna be the most believable, I guess.
I would agree with that.
Almost like, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but almost like having Tourette's or something like that.
No, by no means. Yeah, no, I don't necessarily think it was necessary to do that because I feel like you could have done it in a different way, but the fact that they chose that route, I thought that it was an interesting take on it, and I was like, okay, I'll go with this. Yeah. I'm like, there was a lot of times where, like, where he goes to do his stand-up, where in any point when he was laughing uncontrollably, like, it seemed like he was, like, in pain from doing it. Because,
especially
like,
on the subway.
He'd, like, hold his throat and stuff, and it was like hurting him because he was trying to stifle it and make it stop, but it just kept coming out.
Exactly.
And I felt really bad for him. I think that he did a really good job of being a empathetic character, while at the same time, when he goes and starts doing his more darker stuff, where you go like, okay, no, I don't feel bad for him anymore. Like, now he's kind of just going off the deep end. So, like you said, we'll start at the beginning as far as the story goes. I liked how we set up from the word go that he is clearly mentally ill, because the very first shot of the movie is him in the mirror doing a thing from the trailer where he's pulling his grin up and shit, and I was like, yeah, no, he's gone. Like, before he speaks a word, just that first image of him, you're like, yep, that fucker is crazy. And it was one of the interesting things throughout the movie that I struggled with, because I was like, well, how can someone with this much mental illness function on his own?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not just he was, independent and stuff, but he was taking care of his, sick mother at the same time. So I was like, for as far gone as he is, I struggled to kind of picture, like, okay, how is he holding down a job? And, I mean, he was barely holding it down, but still, he had been there for a while.
Yeah.
I guess you could chalk it up to, at that point, he was still on his medication.
Mm-hmm.
Because as it goes on,
He runs out.
yeah, they cut the funding to
the
the program, so he can't see his therapist anymore, and he gets taken off his medication, and that's when he gets crazier.
It kind of took me a while to get, because I don't know if the beginning was just slow or if it was just not hitting the right points for me. Like, I didn't start getting into it till like halfway through.
No, I felt the same way. I feel that it's definitely a slow burn. Mm-hmm. It's about 2 hours, but it felt like 2.5. Like,
it's a few minutes shy of 2 hours.
Yeah, like that first half, is very slow.
It's like the first hour.
Yeah, it's a lot of setup, and one of my criticisms of it is that because it is a character study, I feel that the movie didn't really have a plot.
Yeah.
Because if you really sit down and just, map the whole thing out, you go from Arthur getting fired from his job, him killing the guys on the subway, him, killing a few other people, going through the motions, him thinking that he was Thomas Wayne's son. He found out that wasn't real. He goes on to the show. He kills Robert De Niro's character. Then he goes to the psychiatric thing. But there is no driving force behind anything.
No.
I think that they kind of put the little subplot of, is he Thomas Wayne's son? Is he related to Batman? Because the mayor, that's Bruce Wayne's father.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, I felt like they kind of tacked that on. It didn't really do anything for the story.
No.
And it's just like, well, we need some kind of thing for him to be after, because he has no goal as a character. He just exists.
Yeah.
And I feel that it was a mistake to make it such a character study, because you don't have anything to look forward to in the story. Mm-hmm. You don't have anything to resolve by the end. He's just kind of going through the motions. And I'm like, well, is there a point to all this? Not to say that I wasn't entertained by it, because like I said, I think Joaquin Phoenix did a fantastic performance, but at the same time, I'm like, well, where is this going? Like, what are we doing here, guys? Now, once we, well, okay, because we got to get into it, because you must have missed something. So,
obviously,
when I want to say it's just before he gets the call to go to the Murray show. I think it's after he kills his mother.
Okay.
That he goes to the girlfriend's house, and he's in her apartment, and she's like, "What are you doing in here?"
Yeah.
Okay, so
and then she's like, "I have my daughter here."
Yeah, she's like, "Please leave." She's like, "Aren't you the guy from down the hall?"
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, she was like, "Do you want me to call your mother?" This, that, and the other.
I heard that part.
And then right after that, he does the little like gunshot to the head thing that she did to him in the elevator. Well, right after that, they start doing flashbacks, and they show all the moments they were together, and she was never actually there.
Oh,
he was imagining that. Because remember towards the beginning where he's watching the Murray show with his mom, and then he imagines himself in the crowd, and he brings him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was another one of his delusions. So like none of that shit happened, which bothers me to a big degree, because I think my biggest criticism of it just as a film is because we've established that he does have these vivid delusions, and a lot of these things that he thinks are happening aren't happening. By the end, it's kind of implied that maybe he really did shoot Robert De Niro's character on the show. Maybe he didn't. Maybe none of this actually happened. Maybe he was in the insane asylum the whole movie. That's my problem. I don't have an issue with leaving a story ambiguous. Like, for example, with Inception. Like, by the end of that movie, he spins the top, and then he goes off to see his kids, because he realizes he doesn't care if this is a dream or not. As long as he gets to be with his family, it doesn't matter to him, and it just goes off. So it's kind of ambiguous in that way. With this, it's so ambiguous to the point where it's like, I have nothing to latch on to, because I feel like you almost wasted 2 hours of my life, because maybe none of this actually happened.
Exactly.
Like,
you just imagined it all.
Right. There was no riot. There was no this, that, and the other. Like, it could have just all been just bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you took a lot of notes on this. So what did you want to address throughout this?
Mostly I just had questions. Like,
okay.
I thought, well, I said this before I found out his mom was ill, but I'm like, I thought that the dynamic between the two of them was weird. Like, why is her son giving her a bath?
Well, it's because she couldn't take care of herself.
Exactly,
yeah.
But I just...
And they seemed like they were poor.
Yes.
So, they couldn't afford, like, a hospice nurse to come in there. So.
I just... yeah.
Okay.
And then, his coworker, when he gives him the gun and whatnot, and he's like, I'm giving this to protect you.
Right.
But then you find out later, he told the boss that Arthur was trying to, like, buy a gun. Was he really trying to protect him, or was he trying to throw him under the bus and get him fired?
Get in trouble. Yeah. Well, because once he drops it at the children's hospital, and everybody sees it and shit, and I love how he tried to play that shit off like, oh, nope, that wasn't a gun.
That wasn't a gun.
Nope, don't look here. Hold on, kids.
And the first time that gun goes off in the house...
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah. Well, he's like, oh, yeah, you're such a good dancer. He's like, yeah. Bah! He's like, oh, shit.
He's like, I didn't know there was a bullet in there.
Yeah, right.
That scared the shit out of me.
Well, he even says to his coworker, he's like, I'm not supposed to have this
exactly.
gun. He's like, I'm fucking crazy. You don't be giving me this shit.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I had the same questions that you had, because when it happens, after, like you said, he goes to the boss and he's like, oh, Arthur was trying to buy a gun for me.
Mm-hmm.
At first I was like, oh, he throwing him under the bus because he just trying to protect himself and yada, 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 and he don't want to get fired, because he gave him a gun or go to jail or some shit. But then later, once you find out that a lot of this shit that's been happening didn't happen, I'm like, so did Arthur really try to buy the gun from that dude? And he imagined that he just gave it to him?
Maybe.
Or say, for example, there's a bunch of moments for me like that. Like, because then when they come to the house and they're like, hey, we just wanted to see, he's like, oh, get our story straight to send the other. Now, they might have really came there, but maybe he didn't actually say the things that Arthur thought he was saying.
Because they brought him a bottle of some sort of alcohol.
Yeah.
So they were bringing him a gift.
Yeah. Well, they knew that his mom was dead, too.
Exactly,
yeah.
But still, like, even if someone hates you, they're not going to do that.
Right. And so I was like, so was his killing of him... Well, none of the killings were justified. But,
no.
But I was like, well, did he kill him because he had betrayed him? Or did Arthur imagine that and this was just an excuse for him to kill people? Because that's one of the things... What do you think this movie was about? What do you think the message or what they were trying to say with this was?
Take your medicine, people.
That, yeah, because...
Take it as prescribed.
Right. Because I feel like they're trying to touch on a bunch of different things. Like, they touch on, like, social issues as far as, like, classism. Because there's the whole, they mention in the movie that the garbage people are on strike. That's why there's all these piles of trash all throughout the city and shit. That, there's like a protests and stuff about, it was basically like Occupy Wall Street, or everybody was mad at the rich. They were talking about kill the rich and all this other crazy shit. And so there was that element of it. There was the element of the importance of mental health and, making sure, like you said, you're taking your medicine, you're seeking out therapy if you can, that we shouldn't cut funding to these things because people need this kind of stuff. There was elements of that. There was also elements of civility and how you treat other people. I mean, so much so to where the last thing Arthur says before he shoots Robert De Niro's character is, what do you get when you cross a loner with mental illness with a society that treats him like trash? He's like, you get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah.
So they touch on these things. My problem is just that they don't commit to anything. Like, there is no through line through the movie where it's like, okay, we're going to delve into these topics.
Like, they had a bunch of ideas, but they just kind of threw them all out there.
No, you're
and
absolutely
they
right.
just didn't go anywhere with them.
Exactly, because when they brought up the whole class issue and stuff like that, I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting this from this movie. Let's go into that. No, okay, all right. Oh, I wasn't expecting us to talk about the importance of mental health and funding, therapies and stuff like that. Let's go into that. No, we're just going to say that one line and never go back to it again? Okay. All right, fine. I thought it was interesting that they brought up, civility and stuff like that. No, we're not going to actually address any of that. Okay, so we just kind of said all that just to try and make it seem... The movie almost felt like it was trying to be smarter than what it really was.
Yeah, I can see that.
And again, I don't want people to take this as me just trying to nitpick and find criticism in it, because I'm like, if you're honest with yourself and you really think about it, the movie's not saying anything about anything.
No.
It's bringing up things, but it's not actually... And I don't need it to definitively give me an answer one way or another, but I would like to explore, these ideas. Don't just kind of bring it up in a throwaway line and then never go back to it again. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and stuff talking about the movie, and I feel like all their meaning that they're getting from it, that they are putting this on the movie and not getting it from the movie. It's like, I think that it's about X, Y, and Z. It's like, yeah, but was the movie really about that, or is that what you're projecting onto it?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to address as well the fears and stuff that people were having about, oh, this is going to, rile up the, white incels and cause them to go do mass shootings and all this other kind of stuff. I don't think that that's in the movie unless you're looking for it. Yeah. But if you're looking for it, I think it's kind of there.
Yeah.
Because of the simple fact that the whole thing with Arthur, yes, he's already crazy. Yes, he has violent tendencies and stuff. He's off his medication, yada, yada. But his whole... he pretty much stops the movie and looks at the camera and says, this is your fault. I'm this way.
Exactly.
Because going back to that line that he says, what do you get when you cross a loner with mental illness with a society that treats him like trash? You get what you fucking deserve. It's like he's blaming what he's doing on society at large. Because he talks about there's no more civility and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, yeah, life sucks, man, but that doesn't justify anything that you've done throughout the course of the movie.
No.
Not even when he kills his first victims on the subway. Yeah, they were beating him up and all that shit. And sure, you could chalk it up to self-defense.
But it didn't have to go that far.
No, you could have chalked it up to self-defense. Because, you got 3 dudes beating you on the ground, and you can't defend yourself. But when he shoots the first guy, he immediately shoots him in the head. He's dead. Other dude, he puts 2 bullets in him. He's dead. The third guy gets off the train. He had to chase that motherfucker down to kill him. At that point, I was like, okay, this is not self-defense anymore. This is just murder.
Exactly.
This is your chance to lash out and get revenge on the people who have wronged you.
Yes.
And that's where I was like, I'm worried that people who are looking for this, you're giving them ammunition. Because you're basically saying, if everybody would have just been nicer to him, if he could have had a girlfriend, maybe he wouldn't have did all this crazy shit. And it's like,
no.
Yeah, like that. No. That was a little bit for me. I was like, I don't know if we should be doing this. Plus, they make it a point to say how when he's talking to his therapist, he's on his medication still at that point in the beginning.
Yeah.
And he says to her, he's like, you don't listen, do you? He's like, all I have are negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets off his medicine, he's like, I feel great. That's what he tells the clown dudes when they come to the house. He's like, yeah, I don't have my medicine anymore. He's like, yeah, I feel great. And I'm just like, so what message are we sending exactly?
Just go off your medication. It'll solve all your problems.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, it doesn't commit to anything, because it keeps contradicting what it's trying to say. And I'm like, okay, well, and I get it. You have to appeal to a broad audience. This is, at the end of the day, still a superhero movie. But what exactly are we trying to say to this broad audience?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, hit me with another one. What else you got?
When the police first come to talk to him at the hospital, why didn't they push him harder, like question him harder? They kind of just let him go off.
Yeah, because he's sitting outside and he kind of plays it off. But they do follow up with him.
They do.
But they had been trying to catch up with him before that point.
Yeah.
before they met him at the hospital.
Yeah.
They were looking for him prior to that.
That's what caused his mom to go to the hospital.
Exactly.
But still, like, if they were so adamant and thinking that he had something to do with this, why wouldn't they have, like, used some sort of, not force, but, like, use their...
Well, at that point,
what word am I looking for?
Authority?
Authority,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, at that point, he was not, I don't necessarily think, straight up a suspect. I don't think they had enough evidence to, like, arrest him at that point. So they were kind of just trying to feel him out and see, like, what he was going to say. Because, I mean, they were already building a case against him because they brought up, like, oh, yeah, you know, you had a gun at the thing.
Yeah.
And you talked to your boss and yada, yada. And it's like, what's good, you know? And it's like, and then there was just so happened to be a dude dressed like a clown that killed 3 motherfuckers on the subway, like, that same day. Like, that's weird, huh? So, yeah, like they were, it was circumstantial evidence, but they were trying to build the case. So, but I do agree, at that point, they probably had enough evidence they could have probably arrested him and probably stopped all this shit from happening.
Just brought him in for more questioning to the station.
Exactly. Just held him for a while.
I watch enough cop shows. Like,
exactly, right. Which, again, it was one of those things where I felt like it was kind of a lazy writing. It's like, you know, like, if you're not going to have them arrest him, don't have them confront him.
Exactly.
Especially confront him with that much information already.
He could have ran.
Yeah, it's like, at that point, anything he did after this is the police's fault, because it was like, y'all knew he was on some bullshit. He was lying. It's like, y'all could have arrested him right then. Like, I don't see how you couldn't at least held him for questioning at best. Or at least. What else you got?
Mostly just, because we already talked about him and his girlfriend. And then...
Which I kind of knew even before they revealed that wasn't real. Because I'm like, what does she see in him?
That's what I thought.
She
I thought it was
seemed
really...
put together. She got a kid and stuff. And it's just like, Arthur is so socially awkward.
Well, I put on here, I find they have a weird relationship. It doesn't really go together.
No. You know, and it was like, yeah, maybe she's one of those people who are like, oh, you know, I can help him. I can fix him. You know, one of them kind of relationships. But... from the moment she started talking to him in the elevator, I was like, why are you talking to this creepy ass motherfucker right here? Like, I mean, she even says, like, you know, were you following me? He's like, yeah, I was. And then it's like, all right, let's fuck. And I'm like, wait, what?
I don't know. And then, like, the whole Robert De Niro scene at the end after it happened, I'm like, what?
I don't understand what the point of that was, because up until that point, for the most part, Arthur was only killing people who had, like, directly wronged him. Yeah. Now, granted, yes, you know, Robert De Niro's character, Murray Franklin, he was going to... the whole reason he brought him onto the show was to mock him and make fun of him.
Exactly.
Yes. Does that justify killing him? No, and I get he is crazy, so we can't think of in logical terms like we rational people would. But I still feel like it was out of character for him, because for the most part, because they set it up in the movie to make it, he's going to kill himself. Yeah. You know, he's like, knock, knock, who's there? And he's like,
he keeps putting the gun up to the
dressing room. So you're like, okay. But somewhere along the line during their conversation, he decides, I'm not going to kill him. He reaches to his back.
I thought he was getting the gun out.
And he pulls out his little joke book. Yeah. And he starts reading a knock, knock joke. And I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. And he doesn't do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, so what is this gonna, like, where's the climax? Like, what are we building towards? Because the music and everything that's happened up to this point, you can tell something's gonna happen.
Because I never expected that to happen.
No. Him turning and shooting Murray Franklin, I think is what his name is, I did not expect that at all. And I think that's the point. That they're trying to misdirect you because they keep waving this thing over here like, oh, he's going to kill himself, and you're not paying attention over here that, oh, he's about to shoot him. It just felt out of character. That action felt like something that the Joker would do. Mm-hmm. But all the way up until this point, he doesn't plan or plot anything. He just kind of does shit. And he's more reactionary than anything.
Yeah.
You know, he machinations over here, and it's like, oh, I'm finna
Nothing's
mwah.
planned.
Yeah, you know, it's just he just kind of reacts to whatever is happening in that moment. He tries to plan stuff here and there, but it
doesn't
never
work.
quite it goes the way he thinks it's gonna go. So when that happens, especially like I said, when he basically stops and looks at the camera and says circumstance, that bothered me. Not just because of what that could mean to people who are looking for some kind of, you know, like dog whistle to be violent and crazy, but to the fact that he as a character is not, he doesn't roll that way. It's probably like the best way for me to say it. Like, that's not Arthur. Arthur doesn't do, Arthur's not a
Premeditator.
No, exactly. Arthur doesn't make plans, really. He just does.
Yeah.
What did you feel about the fact that they kind of were trying to set it up and misdirect you with the... Because there's a lot of theories going around about the movie because people are trying to, like, pick it apart and interpret, like, okay, well, what was happening? What was real? What wasn't real? Do you think that Thomas Wayne really was his father?
It's possible.
Because in the movie, at least, the way they explain it is that Arthur's mother worked for the Waynes.
Yep.
She became obsessive or whatever. They fired her. She was she had an adopted child. Come to find out, the child was being physically and mentally and sexually abused. I mean, so much so to where it's implied that the reason that Arthur is crazy is because he was beaten and had like head injuries and stuff like that. Which that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I was like, don't. They just beat him until he went crazy. I was like, that kind of bothered me. Yeah, like not to say that these things don't and can't happen, but that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
It can affect your life, but
yeah, but to the extent that he is, I'm like, but maybe then you could use that to explain violent tendencies because
he can lash out
on him.
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I still don't like it though. I don't like it, but yeah. So she was committed. After that, and somehow he wasn't put back into foster care. So I don't know, give like a timeline of when these things went down. It just said, and when he was a child, these things happened to him. But she gets out at some point, and they live together again. And he takes care of her. They never say who he's with in that in between time. What happened to him while she was committed? Like, was she committed prior to this, during it, after? Who knows? But in that, it was all a lie. Okay. The theory goes that Thomas Wayne paid to have her committed, like maybe gave her some drugs to make her crazy or some shit, or just told him that she was crazy, had her committed, doctored some adoptions, and just made this whole thing up to protect his image and to not let the fact that he was having an affair, get out into the public.
It's possible.
I think it's possible too.
Because that's why she said, well, she could be crazy as well, but because of all the drugs or whatever happened to her to make her be committed. But she's like, yes, we were in love and we had to keep it quiet and whatnot. So it's very possible that he could be the father in his marriage.
Right. I mean, it's we'll never know for sure.
But it's a possibility.
Yeah. I would have never even questioned it if it wasn't for the fact that it's like, well, half the movie we know didn't happen.
Exactly.
It's for a fact we know didn't happen. So I'm like, well, maybe this isn't what it seems to be either. Not because it was a delusion, but because he's being manipulative to Arthur.
Yeah.
And the fact that we never hear his mother's side of it because she's trying to say something to him, and before he starts smothering her, but we never get back and forth with them. So they he's smothered out, so to speak, for lack of a better term. Any answers we could have had.
Exactly.
And that kind of left me going like, well, maybe he was lying and wasn't telling the truth. Who knows? it's an interesting idea to play with, and it would have been an interesting thing to have done for the movie, to have it, be like, hey, we're gonna make the Joker and Batman brothers, or have brothers, but still brothers. I like that would have been interesting. I mean, there was like a 40-year difference between the two of them, but still, whatever.
It's plausible.
Yeah, it's plausible. It's plausible. Now, I've been kind of beating around it because this is the biggest gripe I have about the movie.
The ending.
Not the very, very end, but that last third right after he kills Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, okay, are we full on in delusion mode? Or that's when I'm like, did any of this happen? Because I find it very hard to believe that, for one, he wasn't shot on site when the police got there.
Exactly.
The fact that he actually got arrested was shocking to me. But okay, let's just say he did. They were taking him to the police station. There's riots in the streets. People are losing their fucking mind because he came on TV, admitted he was the one that did the shootings on the subway, that he was the catalyst for all this crazy shit that's going on. And now the people who were already idolizing him and wearing a clown mask and shit, now they're out there burning up fucking Gotham left and right. I find it hard to believe that someone stole an ambulance,
knew where to go,
knew where he was going, knew what time they were taking him to the police station, knew what street they were going to drive down, found them, rammed into the car. Both the cops
didn't
are killed.
Kill him,
right? Because they hit the car. Another car crashed and ran over the police car.
Yeah.
He somehow survived when the other two officers in the car died. Then they take him, carefully pull his body out and carry him like Jesus and lay him onto the hood of the car. He wakes up and they're like, rise, get up. And he stands up and he's like bleeding from his nose and he rubs it into his smile and shit. And he's just standing there with his arms out and everybody's chanting and all this shit. And then we cut to him in the insane asylum.
Exactly.
And I'm like, so...
But you forgot the part where they kill Bruce Wayne's father and mother. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. I've been trying to hold it together this whole time. Now,
here we go.
Before we go into this, again, I've done good. I've almost a little over half an hour into it. I've done good up to this point. Now we're going to start teetering into the comic book stuff that bothers me. Who in the fuck was in this writer's room? Who, as an executive, a producer, the director, at what point was you reading this script and making it and going over the drafts and said, we need to kill Bruce Wayne's parents again? I am so sick of watching the Waynes get shot. You have no idea. We've seen it in the first Batman and Batman Forever, in Batman Begins, and Batman versus Superman. I'm like, in the animated series, like, if I never have to see the Waynes get shot again for the rest of my life, it'll be too fucking soon. Because I was like, when they were coming out of the movie theater, I was like, oh, okay, like, we're going to follow back up with them again. And then when the clown comes around the corner, I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to fucking do it. They're going to shoot these motherfuckers again.
He slashed the mom's throat, though.
Regardless. And then when the pearls broke off, and I mean, it was shot well. It looked good. It was a much better, I think, to date, up to this point, the Murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne in BVS was probably the best filmed version of it until this, where I was like, I actually like the way it was shot and put together, but I was just like, are you fucking serious, man? Like, why did y'all do this? This is what my problem is with it. Off principle alone, we've seen Uncle Ben die twice. Mm-hmm. We don't never need to see Uncle Ben die again. We know how Peter Parker became Spider-Man. We don't need to see that shit. So when Marvel took him, they was like, hey, we not doing that shit.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben's already dead. Move on. Like, we're past that, all right? It's him and Aunt May. Don't ask no questions. You know how this go. Go back and watch the old movies. Why Warner Brothers can't learn that lesson, I don't know. The fact that they even I don't even understand why they even put the Waynes in the movie.
I don't know either.
Because if we're not going to tie this to Batman in any way, shape, or form, because if you telling me that little 8-year-old Bruce Wayne
I'm Batman
is finna grow up to be Batman and then beat up this 80-year-old Joker, I'm like, I don't even want to see that. That's just fucking elder abuse at that point. I'm like, so why even you could have put anybody in that. You could have just been like, they could have played the same part and just not been the Waynes.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to relate it to Batman, if you're not going to put Batman in these movies, why even bring them into this at all? Like, it was so pointless.
They're like, oh, but it's the Joker movie. We gotta do this.
Right? Oh, God. And like, y'all took so many liberties with his character. There was no reason to put
It
the Waynes
didn't fit
in
in there.
at all. No, yeah, exactly. It's just a random thing that happens. Like, if you don't know the Batman story, like, if you are a young child watching this, which I hope to fucking God you know.
No.
But if you are a young kid watching this, you've never seen anything Batman related ever.
They're
And
not
that-
going to understand
It's
why
like,
this happened.
why did this? What was the importance of this?
Exactly.
The only reason it's in there is fan service to the people who like Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it serves no purpose to the rest of the narrative of the movie. It's one of the few things that actually happens that Arthur isn't directly involved with. Because he's in almost every single shot of the movie.
Yeah.
Except when the Waynes get killed, because he's not even the one to do it. So it's like, well, what was the point?
They say they did it.
Now, there's other theories. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And then the other reason why, on principle, it bothers me that they put this in the movie is if we're going to get away from, if we're going to say that this is an Elseworlds thing, this is his own thing, it's not related to anything else that they're doing in DCEU, past or present, then why are you setting up Batman? It's one thing to have his parents in it. You could have still had the Waynes. You could have did everything. For one, you could have did all this, even killing them, and not called them the Waynes. It would still work the same way.
Yeah.
You could have did everything that you did, still called them the Waynes, but not killed them. Story would have still played out the same way. The fact that y'all killed them, as an audience member and a comic book geek, you're telling me Batman's going to be in this universe.
Exactly.
In the next movie, Batman is going to be somehow in the shadows doing some shit. But he's not. So why did you even do that? Like, and they said, oh, well, this is a standalone movie, and now that it's getting all this critical acclaim and praise, they're like, oh, well, we might make a sequel. Who knows? And I'm just like, no,
Just leave it alone.
don't do that. Because you ain't finna have Batman, the real Batman, fighting this Joker. And that's one of my other problems with it. Because now we're in full on, like I said, as a movie itself, I think is well shot. I think it's well acted. I think that it's weakly written. I think that there's no plot and there's no point to the movie. But as far as just a character study and just watching somebody just spiral out of control, I think they did everything good. Yeah. So as far as just a movie on its own, I would give it a liked it.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. If they would have took Joker off the title, took away the clown shit, and just been like, this is just a movie about a guy who goes crazy, I would have been like, I love this movie. Yeah. But because you're tying it into superhero shit, those are where a lot of my problems come from. So as far as that goes, we have the nonsensical point of putting Bruce Wayne and his parents in there and killing them. Why? Who fucking knows? Then it's like, it's the problem I had from when they showed the first trailer. The whole thing that makes the Joker such a fascinating character is the fact that you don't know why he does the things that he does. The fact that he stops, looks at the camera, and says, I'm killing all these fucking people is because society treated me like shit. You completely take away the mystique of his character. Mm-hmm. That's not the Joker. Like, the Joker isn't this reactionary, well, they were mean to me, and so I'm gonna go shoot people. Like, no, he does this shit because he likes to incite chaos. He likes to watch people squirm and suffer and get out of their comfort zones. The Joker is crazy, but he's intelligent.
Yeah.
Arthur is not intelligent. Arthur is dumb and just crazy. Arthur can't function in society hardly. The Joker can manipulate society to the point to where he can break down society.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like, this is not the Joker. Why did you even make him this way? Like, you could have made an origin story and made him into the character that we all know, but it's like, it almost feels like this was a script that was already out there, and then they came in later and was like, just throw some Batman shit in there and we'll call it Joker and then we'll make it and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like at any point this was ever meant to be
added like key elements.
Yes, they're like make him a clown, make him laugh crazy, put the Waynes in it, boom, Joker.
Yeah, like
and I'm
make him have like green hair and the face like the stuff.
Right. Have him put some makeup on and lick his paintbrush and shit, which I don't even know what the fuck the point with that was.
Gotta get away.
which there was something that happens in this that I still don't understand. They never explained it, and so please, anybody that's listening to this, please help me. Why the fuck did he get into the refrigerator? Because there's a point, I think it's after he kills his mom, where he's taking all the shit out of the fridge and he just gets in it and closes it. And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking like, oh, he gonna go in there and like scream or something like that, and he's trying to like muffle it so like the neighbors won't hear. No, he just gets in the fridge. And I'm like,
he wanted to be cold.
Okay.
He was so hot with rage, he wanted to be cold.
Right, and I'm thinking like, oh, is he killing himself? No? Then what is he doing? Also, what was the dancing about? I never got that.
He kept hearing music in his head. That was my thing.
Right, but he was doing like some like ballet, like, and I'm like, where did he learn
that type of music?
Right, but I'm
he
like,
watched like old stuff on TV, so
yeah, I guess, yeah, and
maybe
then
he learned it from TV.
That was one of the things I did like about how they kind of evolved his character, where, you know, when we only ever see him doing like that kind of dance, like when he's like in Joker mode.
Oh yeah,
like after he kills the guys on the subway, he does it for the first time, and then when he's getting ready to go out on stage, he does that, and he comes out, he does little spins and you know, all that shit, and when he's getting ready to go to the show, he's coming downstairs and he's kicking and jumping around and shit, and it was like, I like that. It was kind of like a way to express that he is becoming more comfortable and more confident in himself when he's the Joker, but at the same time, I'm like, but he acts like that when he's having a delusion too, so is it just he's acting more confident and stuff because this isn't really happening? Or is it because he's finally letting go? Like, I don't know.
We'll never know.
It's fucking bullshit. But as far as like the comic book stuff goes, I don't, as a Batman fan and as a fan of the Joker, I know this is their own interpretation, but even as interpretation goes, there's nothing about this character that is the Joker. Besides the fact that you're calling him that, and he's wearing clown makeup.
Yeah.
Other than that, he doesn't plan anything. He has no end goal. And by the end, I was thinking like, oh, okay, this is when he's going to become the Joker. Because all these people are like worshiping him and raising him up, and he has all these followers now. And I'm like, okay, now he's going to be, nope. And I'm like, so where is the Joker in this Joker movie? Because that ain't the fucking Joker. That he doesn't have to be verbatim what he's like in the comics.
Yeah.
But you have to keep the essence of that character. And they don't have the essence of him. Just because he's wearing clown makeup, and y'all can argue with me all you want, just because he's wearing clown makeup and killing people doesn't make him the Joker.
Like you said, they already had this script ready to go, and they just they're like, oh, we should make it a Joker movie.
Yeah, because Todd Phillips has said, like, you know, we're going to make a real movie with a real budget, and we're going to call it fucking Joker. And I'm like, he was like, this was basically his way to slip a real movie into the studio system by saying, oh, it's going to be some superhero shit. But it really wasn't that.
No, not at all.
After watching it, I'm like, I feel like, yeah, this was never meant to be a Joker movie, like, at all. I don't know what a Joker movie would be.
Not this.
Especially not without Batman in it. I'm like, I'm not seeing why we were even doing this story, but okay.
No.
And then by the very end, it kind of unravels everything they've set up prior to that, because he's talking to his therapist and he's like laughing to himself, and she's like, "What are you laughing at?" She's like, "Tell me." And he's like, "Oh, it's between me and him. You wouldn't get it."
Yeah.
And then they flash to Bruce in the alley with his parents killed. That is literally setting up the conflict between him and Batman, with him going like, I got that motherfucking parents killed and shit, you little shit. You know, and it's like, it's almost like this was a prequel to the 89 Batman or something. Because in the 89 Batman, the Joker himself directly kills Bruce's parents.
Oh.
And he remembers from when he was a kid, and then they fight and he kills him and all that shit. But I was like, well, but in this, it's not literally the Joker that killed him, but he is the cause
Exactly.
of his death. But after that, you see Arthur walking down the hall, and he's leaving behind bloody footprints, which implies he killed the therapist.
Yeah.
Why? Everyone else, his whole justification was because they were mean to me.
They
did this, that, and the
provoked
other.
it.
Right. They had it come. They got what they deserved.
Exactly.
What did the therapist do to deserve you killing her?
Absolutely nothing.
Again, it's like they're inconsistent. It's not the Arthur that we've watched for this whole 2 hours up to this point is not the same Arthur that would have went in there and killed her just cause.
No. Not at all.
And then not only that, it's implied that he is either escaping the asylum, because after he walks to the hall, one of the orderlies starts chasing him and they run off, and then they run back the other way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so is Joker now chasing him? Is he trying to escape? Like, what's happening?
Confusing.
And I just wanted consistency with his character. Now, I know people are going to try to make the argument with me that, oh, well, it's not supposed to make sense why he killed her. He's crazy. No. He is crazy, but they make it a point to make him somewhat rational. Mm-hmm. You know, he doesn't just do fucked up shit. He's always reacting to something.
Yes.
So it's like, what happened to cause him to murder her? And just now it's like, oh, I just love killing people now.
Yeah,
like
what topic did she bring up?
Yeah, and I mean, he does say when he's talking to Robert De Niro's character, he's like, yeah, I killed those 3 guys on the subway. He was like, and it felt good, and I'm tired of pretending that it didn't. And I'm like, okay, sure, but
You just don't have the urge to kill everybody.
right. I'm like, how does that evolve into, okay, I'm just going to kill anybody that I can get within reach of?
No.
I'm like, that felt real forced, because if that's the case, why didn't he shoots Robert De Niro in the head once, then he shoots him 2 more times after he's dead. Why didn't he just turn the gun on that little doctor chick that was in there that he kisses in the mouth when he first gets up there? Why didn't he start shooting at the crowd? Like, what? None of that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You're very inconsistent.
yes, and then the thing that really bothers me the most out of everything is that was the one cool thing that they were setting up that now they're leaving in limbo, is that, oh, maybe they're related. Like, I don't want that per se, but I'm like, that's an interesting twist on the characters. I mean, you've changed everything else about them. Why not do that? It's disappointing, because I went into this leading up to it, at least. I was not thrilled about it. I did not want to see it. And then I saw it, and I tried to give it a fair shake. And that's why I spent so much time at the beginning of this expressing the things that I did like about it.
Yeah.
But there's still an equal amount that I didn't like. And even if we push aside all my comic book bias shit, just as a movie, I feel like it was weakly written. Like, it's just kind of spinning its wheels. And it's, again, saying shit to make it seem like it's smart. It's like that kid that you know where he drops big words every now and then to seem smart.
You?
Me? Oh, okay. What? but doesn't actually know a bunch about anything,
Yeah.
or they just talk fast to seem like they know what they're talking about when they really don't. And I felt like that was
hippopotamus.
I felt like that's what this movie was. Like, it was trying to seem smarter than what it was, and tried to make it seem like it was talking about something when it really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you had in your notes that
No.
you wanted to address or had questions about?
No, I think we touched on everything that was questionable about.
Oh. And for anybody out there that was saying that this movie's violent, or no, it's not. There's I can count
worse.
on my hand subway killings, the
Other
guys he
clowns.
kills in his apartment, his mother, and Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah.
Because
His mom's killing wasn't even that violent. He just put the pillow over her.
yeah, right, and they don't even show a whole lot.
No.
You know, like when the most violent death in the whole movie was when
Robert De Niro's.
was when he stabs the dude with the fucking scissors and he starts slamming his head to the wall and blood sprays all over his face. Like, that was the most violent one. The most shocking one was Robert De Niro's death because we didn't see it coming and it was so quick. But yeah, like they don't spend a lot of time. Like, and that's the thing that I wanted from this was him to be that crazy ass. Like, I wanted him to have a motherfucker tied up and toying with them with a knife and, like, cutting fingers off and fucked up crazy shit like that. Because that's what the Joker does. He's fucked up like that. But it was all just, I'm mad and I'm lashing out. And I'm like, once they decided to make him mentally ill from the get-go, you take away everything that makes him a good villain. Because if he's just crazy, then you can just write him off as just a crazy dude.
Exactly.
With a gimmick. As opposed to saying, no, there's a psychosis behind this shit. Like, he seems crazy on the outside, but he's doing this shit for a reason.
Exactly. He's very planned.
Right, even in The Dark Knight, like, Heath Ledger's version of the Joker, he's like, oh, I'm just an agent of chaos, and he's like, I'm a dog chasing cars, I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one, and all this shit. It's like, no. He plays like he's dumb, but he says to the mob dude, when he takes half their money for helping him get rid of Batman, and he sets it on fire. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, it's not about money. It's about sending a message. Like, there's a point to everything he's doing. He plays this, like, aloof kind of, oh, shit. But no, there's a plan. Mm-hmm. There is always a plan with the Joker. That's the thing. He has plans within plans within plans. But this is Arthur Fleck. This is not the Joker. Oh, and then the final theory that I wanted to talk about. People have been saying, and this angers me even more than assuming that none of this happened and it was all a delusion.
Oh.
People have been saying, oh, you don't get it. Mike, you don't understand. This isn't... What is the name of this movie?
The Joker.
No, what is the name of this movie?
Joker.
Yes. He's not the Joker.
Oh my God.
He's a Joker, and he inspires the real Joker who would... I'm like, no.
Because you put Batman in it.
No. Don't pull that Gotham bullshit where it's like, oh, this isn't the real Joker. He's going to inspire the real Joker who's going to come later. No. Because there's multiple reasons that is a problem. First off, and most importantly, I don't want the Joker to be a copycat of another fucking crazy person.
No. Where
he's just nothing original and he's literally just aping the style. It's like that character in Mindhunters, that killer that they're trying to hunt down. He's like, he basically stole the Son of Sam's whole shtick.
Yeah.
So it's like, with the message and the symbol and all this shit, it's like, no, like, I don't want him to be a copycat killer.
Mm-hmm.
You have... saying that you've taken all the originality away from him. All of it. Completely. He's literally just doing some shit that somebody else did.
Mm-hmm.
Second, you can't say that this is the prototype Joker and that the real Joker is going to be inspired by him and do that. And then it's like, okay, let's just say that that's true and we don't have a problem with him being a copycat. The Joker that Batman fights had nothing to do with his parents being killed or any of this other shit. So why does he even have a conflict with him besides him just being a criminal? I'm like, you set up this big connection between him and Bruce and then go say, but no, he ain't the real Joker. So then why are you connecting him to the Waynes? Like, what was the point of that?
You ain't gonna win this.
And then the other thing that makes it frustrating and angers me, if that is what they were going for, is if you are going to tell me that he is the genesis, he is the inspiration for the real Joker, what the fuck was the point of this whole goddamn movie then? Just some dude? Some dude, the movie, who also wears clown makeup, the movie, and laughs a bunch and calls himself Joker, but ain't.
The happy clown.
Right, the movie. I'm like, oh my god. So there you go, kids. I mean, I tried to hold it together as best I could, but god damn it, it's insult to injury. So we have a 5-tier rating system. I'm gonna have 2 ratings. I mean, you will probably just have your one.
Yeah.
But the 5-tier rating system goes really fucking liked it, meh, hated it, and really fucking hated it. As a movie on its own, separate from everything else, I liked it.
Okay.
As a comic book movie about the Joker,
I fucking hated
it. I fucking hated it. I was in between hated it.
No, you weren't.
In meh for a while. No, I really was. But then the more I thought about it after the fact, and then
you could stew on it a little bit.
When they shot the Waynes, that's what pushed me, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I am so fucking checked out of this shit. Fuck them. Fucking hated it. As a comic book movie, as a movie on its own, as a piece of cinema, as Mr. Scorsese would say, I liked it. As a comic book movie about the Joker, I fucking hated it. What would you give this?
I'm between a meh and I liked it. Just saying because I couldn't really get into it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But if the last hour or so was all I was judging it on, I liked it.
Okay. And that's fair. And like I said, it's fine to feel that way. I don't begrudge anyone.
My opinion.
Yeah, I don't begrudge anyone for liking it. I'm not as angry at this as I was at Venom. Like, Venom, I was, like, physically ill after I watched that movie. With this, I'm not as upset, but I still fucking hated this shit. Like, I as a comic book movie. So, take from that what you will. I don't know what, go from liked it to fucking hated it. I guess that would be a meh, or just a hated it. I don't know. But y'all do the math and figure that shit out. I don't know. But once again, thank you for coming and joining us for one of our reviews. Please, by all means, bring the hate. I am open to your criticism and comments. Like I want to have this discussion and prove me wrong. Like, convince me that I'm reading it the wrong way. Maybe I missed something in the movie. I'm not interpreting it the way that the filmmakers meant. Help me out here. Just give me something. But until then, send in the fucking clowns. Remember, you can always find us at our home at onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com. We are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Make sure to show us some love. So go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, rate, follow, review buttons, and all that shit.
And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or criticisms, or you just want to say hi, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks as a show. Myself, I am on Twitter at Froggy Beaver. And our missing Benoit is at Benoit Gaming, BENWAH Gaming, also on Twitter. The show is on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram. I am also on Instagram, so you can check me out. Trying to, throw some things in there. But if you're looking for the show, all you have to do is search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.